For exclusive podcasts and more, sign up at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
This week's Law & Order Marathon winner is Greta Rothman of Twinsburg, Ohio. Greta will get a marathon decal showing she watched 26.2 hours of her favorite crime show. To be next week's winner, sign up at lawandorderpodcast.com.
I'm Kevin Flynn with Rebecca Lavoie and Jake Anthony, and these are their stories.
You think you know who did it, but you don't know who did it. Law and order, law and order, law and order. It's no ordinary police procedural, baby. It's the FNOG of police procedurals, baby. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. These are their stories, these are their stories.
Welcome to These Are Their Stories, the podcast about network TV's most enduring crime franchise and the real-life cases that inspire their shows. I'm Kevin Flynn. Each podcast will break down an episode from either Criminal Intent, SVU, or Original Recipe, and today we're looking at Special Victims Unit, Season 10, Episode 16, Ballerina.
Birdie said that she only had a talent for attracting bad men. Well, it looks like she had another one, getting rid of them.
So we're thinking Black Widow.
Joining me to do just that is true crime author and host of Crime Writers On and Netflix's You Can't Make This Up podcasts, Rebecca Lavoie. Hello, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
And rounding out our panel is our special guest from the Reality Gaze podcast. It's Jake Anthony. Poodle, thank you for joining us.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here talking about a show that is literally my drug. Maybe not literally, because I've done enough drugs to know
what an actual drug is,
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Twitter demanded that we get together, and so Twitter spoke.
Here we are.
Did it.
And whatever Twitter does, we must. I think it's because I know I've referenced a lot of Law and Order shows, and I've actually written. This is weird. I've actually written a Law and Order musical, but it was only like 20 minutes. It was just ridiculous, and we had a lot of fun with doing the procedural element of it all. And
was it a musical?
Yeah, it was. Well, it was like 20 minutes. It was a quick and funny musical.
What was the love ballad? What was it called?
There wasn't really a love ballad, but there was a great song called where they were interviewing all the people who saw the crime. They're like, but I can't really handle this right now because I gotta go do something else.
Yes.
Because everyone is always too busy to help in New York.
I gotta move a box.
And there was like a kid, and the kid in the candy store said, "Hey there, officer," and they're like, "Sorry, I gotta go play stickball." And there was a song that the district attorney sang that was like, "We got to get this guy. Our numbers are down."
Yeah.
And it was just this whole song about our numbers and our things are down. And there was an interrogation song, a good cop, bad cop song. It was fun. It was a fun show.
Jake, of all the franchises, which two cops are your favorite detective team?
Favorite Law and Order detective team?
It's Stabler, Benson and Stabler.
Yeah.
Because Mariska Hargitay for me can do no wrong. Mm-hmm. And I also have lots of very intricate sexual fantasies about Christopher Maloney.
Wow. Tell us everything. No, I'm just kidding. Not everything.
Hey, they're intricate.
How long you got? And this will be not just an explicit. This will be like, this can't be heard by anybody.
Jake, who's your favorite prosecutorial team?
Favorite Law and Order district attorney prosecutorial team?
Oh, this is tough. I will always have a soft spot for Sam Waterston in any form or fashion. As far as team goes, I've been a fan of Casey Novak for a long time. I love her kind of caring mentality, but I love her toughness. And weirdly, my favorite to be kind of funny, who was kind of the best actor on the show, was Christine Lottie. Remember when Christine Lottie was on for a while? She had a problem with alcohol, and spoiler alert, they murdered her because she was just like there because maybe her husband didn't pay her child support for those like couple of months, and she's like, I need to go to Ibiza. I've always had a soft spot for Carisi too.
Yeah.
And now that he's the DA, I love that actor. He's come so far, And I love when you can see a team of writers in production write for an actor they really like.
Yep.
And I love how he's actually a theater actor, and we have mutual friends in common. And I said, how is this guy? And he's like, oh, he's so wonderful. He's the sweetest guy in the world. So that's a good thing to know.
Have they seen him with the mustache, though?
It's not my favorite.
Now let's look at the first half of this episode. SVU, Season 10, Episode 16, Ballerina. Boy, it really sucks when you threaten your no-good roommate with a butcher knife only to have a bullet from a neighboring apartment pierce his chest and cover you with blood. But who needs DNA when the perpetrator left an ear print on the closet mirror?
Well, pretty obvious what happened, right? I mean, rape, murder, suicide, bing, bang, bong.
Gail, thanks. I think we got it from here.
Yeah. So I overheard the neighbor saying that he saw Mr. Reyes, that's our male deceased, and Miss Flores, the one on the bed, coming home earlier. So I'm thinking that they went out, had a few too many, came home, argued. He attacked her, killed her, realized what he's done, offed himself.
You got it all figured out, don't you?
Some cases solve themselves, right? Hey, what now? We all going to Disneyland?
Tisa, the dead woman next door, worked in a building owned by a former dancer and elderly bon vivant Birdie Sulloway. She's living on Park Avenue with her greasy fifth husband, Marv, and her extremely awkward 30-something nephew and martini mixer, Chet. The building in question had once been Birdie's dance studio, and she asked Marv to purchase it, but Marv's not telling her that the property is now a strip club featuring tiki torches and Hasidic Jews. Tisa's favorite club goer was Diddler on the Roof Ephraim Iskowitz.
That's inspired.
Yeah, thank you.
That's inspired.
Benson and Stabler accuse him of being jealous of Tisa's boyfriend, but Ephraim says it's Marv who's been putting the moves on her. Birdie drops by SVU offering to write a check and pay for Tisa's funeral. Among the tea she spills is that Chet is actually the orphan child of a friend who's been her lifelong companion, and all of her other husbands were no good dudes who died before their time. Birdie leaves behind a fountain pen that Marv's been chewing on like a dog toy. The detectives test it, and the DNA on the pen matches that found at the crime scene. Before Olivia and Elliot can arrest Marv, he jumps from the penthouse window, but the position of the fingerprints on the frame show Marv had his back to the open window, and their suicide was likely a murder. Bing, bang, bong.
Bing, bang, bong.
So this is season 10, and it's full of campy absurdism, thanks to producer Speedweed. This is a season where we had the dog ate the tampon.
Speedweed. Best season.
Yeah.
Best season, yeah.
Yeah, we had, I didn't stab the captain with the pickle, the dog ate the tampon,
right.
the monkey in the basketball,
Best.
the tiger eats the rapper Got's money.
Yep.
It's just crazy
That's right.
shit,
This
right?
was all such a crazy season.
It is. It's insane. There should be posters, like commemorative posters. We need to decorate your office, right? This is what we're gonna do.
Oh my God. So there's a completely goofy way to start this episode. Kevin finds couch surfing Stan watching his pay-per-view, and he threatens him with a butcher knife, only to have a stray bullet go right through his chest.
Get your ass out that door, Stan. Whole or in pieces. It's your choice. I said I ain't going out. You shot me? How?
Do you think the guy put the knife away before calling the cops? You're just kind of like, oh man, this is gonna look really bad.
It does seem like that there are always two casts from an episode where it's a misdirection like this, that these two actors needed to be done a favor by someone, and they're never really good. They're just there to kind of act really surprised or and they're just kind of sacrificial lambs, to the main. And there were two fake outs or even almost three in this episode. Yeah.
Speedweed likes to stuff as many scenes into an episode as possible.
I believe so.
I mean, it really does seem like the jump cuts. I mean, there were so many scenes, just like pages and pages and pages of script. The storyboard was like 8 rooms that you had to walk through. That's why I love this episode so much.
And then we get into Sunset Boulevard later.
Totally.
100%.
Well, this, as we say, season 10, so this is the first appearance of uber annoying future homicidal crime tech Dale Stuckey.
Yeah.
Not that I want to be CSU forever, but hey, don't worry. Not gunning for either of your jobs yet, right?
And so the first forensic piece of evidence we have in this case is an ear print on the mirror. How hard of hearing do you have to be to press your entire ear and not smudge up against the door?
It does seem like something that was just intentionally weird. Yeah.
And how stupid you have to be to think the Hasidic guy did it when there was no curl print next to the ear print.
I know, right?
I'm just saying it, right?
I'm still dying. As soon as she said Diddler on the Roof, I was like, who can the creepies, the creepers, the penguins. That's where I went.
So, by the way, I guess they kept calling this a double homicide. I guess Stan pulled through.
No, I don't think Stan matters. Stan doesn't matter.
When did they keep going?
I don't think
it was
counts.
A double homicide plus a dead guy next door. He must have been. He doesn't count.
If you look at the opening thing when you go to the Hulu thing and it describes the episodes, it says 3 dead people.
Yeah, but they keep going. Well, it was 2 deaths and a rape.
Stan doesn't matter. He doesn't matter.
And Stan was just a collateral damage. They didn't even. He's not even credited. That actor.
That's right.
I don't want to victim blame, but Stan had it fucking coming.
As Stuckey says, this apartment is where the real action happens.
We've all had that roommate who we all wanted dead. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Just waiting for somebody next door with bad aim. So when a woman is part of a double, maybe triple homicide, usually Benson and Stabler will talk to family and friends and coworkers and her boss. But not make a beeline for the person who owns the building in which she works.
It just did seem like, well, how are we gonna get to the big story? Yeah. Let's quickly run our way through the insignificant people who were murdered to get to the big story.
Finn's apparently got the situation sized up. He says that the former ballet studio, now strip club.
It sold in 2007, so no more tutus. Now it's tequila and tongue jobs.
Perfect.
Sweet wisdom from Finn.
Yeah, nice job with the alliteration, bad job with the visual.
He always gets the lines where he has to either explain something and it's always done in such a way, or he gets a question. It's like, wait a minute, what does this mean? What is a blood transfusion? and it gives the cast member who has somebody who's like, that's messed up.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Poor Ice-T. That's always his job.
He's either exposition, expert, or alliteration. That is his job.
Yeah.
Also, though, you have to give them credit for not taking the opportunity to be as anti-Semitic as they could be in this episode. I mean, first
We're
of all,
getting to that, yes.
I mean, it did seem like it was going there. Yeah. And so, I was like, the rushing to the building owner did give them, a way out of that opportunity.
Right.
It is true. I was just glad there wasn't more Penguinito jokes.
I don't know. I could have used a couple more.
Yeah.
Lisa kept having problems with this one penguinito.
Little penguin?
The Jews. Black pants, white shirt.
Orthodox. Gotcha.
We call over there the South Pole, because that's where the penguinitos hang out.
And talk about the rogues gallery of Orthodox guys over there.
Yeah.
Those guys look like you could have picked them out of any sex offender catalog.
Right.
Just over there.
They go to the joint and it's a Hawaiian-themed strip club?
Yes.
There are grass huts and dancers and topical tops and leis and grass skirts.
This club has everything.
But the theme of a strip club is strip club.
No, not this time.
This time.
It did seem like a hat on a hat. There was a lay on a lay, if you will. Yeah. There was too much going on.
Yeah.
I actually wrote that down. I said, this whole scene in this club is chaotic. I don't even know. Where does anyone know where to look? Everything is, there's too many colors. You can't look at the women, but we don't see any women dancing. Women dance with men, but they're in Hawaiian costumes.
Yeah, they're dressed like hula dancers.
Yes.
So they should be doing something.
Yes.
At least give me a coconut bra.
Yeah.
But here's the whole thing. Everybody who works there is supposedly Latina, right?
Yeah.
And they're appropriating Polynesian culture
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? Who came up with this idea? And then that's where the Orthodox men want to go.
I tell you,
what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on?
I tell you, if I go to a strip club and I see a bunch of Hasidim, I'm like, I'm in the wrong fucking club.
Yeah.
How sexy is this going to be in here? Why is it so quiet in here tonight? It's the Sabbath. So when they grab up Ephraim, though, Stabler pulls out the print and he goes,
What is that? Don't touch me!
Shh. All right, you don't want to show us your ear? We'll take it downtown.
You don't want to show us your ear, huh?
Literally what those things are for, Stabler.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, okay, we'll get you back to the station. We'll see what fucking ear you have, buddy.
Do you put it through APHIS or CODIS or whatever?
Oh, God.
Earfus.
Earfus. There we go. Let's take a look at the cast.
It's our very special guest star.
Is Carol Burnett. Yay! She's playing Birdie Sulloway.
Was a dancer, a singer, a little cabaret here and there. Then when I found out that they were going to sell my old building, I asked my husband to buy it for me.
Probably best known for The Carol Burnett Show. She has 6 Emmys, 7 Golden Globes, 1 Grammy, 1 Tony, and she received an Emmy nomination for this guest performance.
Yes.
She lost to Ellen Burstyn, who won playing Elliot's mother in an earlier episode.
Yes. Oh, but Ellen Burstyn was so good.
I'm just so happy an SVU person won. I'm just so, every time I hear an SVU person won an Emmy, I'm like, yeah, they did.
I forget the actress, but out of the 5 nominated that year, 3 were SVU guest appearances.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And let's not forget one unforgettable season of Mama's Family.
Yeah.
that Carol Burnett gave us. Yes, she was out for the rest of the time because of disputes with, I think her husband had disputes after they did the 4 other seasons without her.
Yep.
But for one season, Eunice ruled. That's me being so gay that I know everything about Mama's Family.
If we talk about Carol Burnett show for a second.
Of course.
It has, in my mind, the best one-liner ever on television, and it was, tell me if you guys remember this, the time when they were doing a takeoff on Gone with the Wind.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
And she was Scarlett O'Hara. And for those who don't remember, there's a scene where in the movie, Scarlett takes the curtains out of the window to make a dress for Brett. And so when Carol does it, she comes out and it still has the curtain rod through the shoulders. And Brett says,
Scarlett, I love you. That gown is gorgeous.
And she says,
Thank you. I saw it in the window and I just couldn't resist it.
And that has the longest sustained applause of any joke in television history.
I would agree with that.
Live studio audience, that show was,
Yeah.
freaking amazing.
In 1981, Carol successfully sued the National Enquirer, which printed that she got into a drunken argument with Secretary of State Henry Kissinger in an expensive Washington restaurant. That is a weird fucking argument.
I'm sure it's true, and I'm glad she successfully sued them anyway.
Yeah, she said she was motivated in part because her parents were really bad alcoholics, and that's why she famously grew up with her grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she didn't dispute the argument. She disputed that she was drunk.
Well,
love it.
I don't know what the argument was.
I love it. She's like, I fucking argue with Henry Kissinger, but I wasn't drunk.
I don't like any of his policies, but I hadn't had a drop. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Miss Burnett. In 2019, at the Golden Globes, Carol Burnett won the Carol Burnett Award. Which kind of makes sense, I'd say, right?
She should get an award every year, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they keep giving it. And it's like, how come I didn't get it this year, too? The Carol Burnett Award is a Life Achievement Award for television. In this house, Kevin Flynn won the Kevin Flynn Award, and it's a Lifetime Achievement Award of watching television.
Yes. Named after you, and you win it all the time.
I go all the time. I just got to get a trophy. We do have some repeat offenders this episode.
Repeat offender.
We see Vincent Curatola as Marv.
The old queen who ran it couldn't pay the rent. I mean, I'm not running the damn charity.
The Sopranos star later had a recurring role as an SVU judge. There's Noel Fisher playing the exquisitely annoying Stucky.
The bullet went through the wall, killed the guy next door. Cool, huh?
And Erica Bradshaw is the arraignment clerk.
Docket ending 6126. People of the state of New York versus Bridget Sulloway.
Remember, she was the one, she and her wife sued New Jersey to bring gay marriage to the Garden State.
Yeah, I think I remember that, yeah.
But we do have a Hey, It's That Guy.
Hey, it's that guy.
Who is playing Birdie's creepy nephew, Chet?
Come on.
Matthew Lillard.
He seemed normal to me. He came home, he took his martini, and he went into the office, and I assumed that he was doing what he always does. Surf porn.
As part of the early aughts Brat Pack, Matthew Lillard, a.k.a. Shaggy, a.k.a. Scream, a.k.a. everything of the early aughts.
Yeah.
One of my favorite early aughts actors.
He has one of the best roles in Serial Mom, John Waters' big studio movie with Kathleen Turner and Sam Waterston, strangely enough.
He made it big right as the killer in Scream and was the perfect choice to play Shaggy in the live-action Scooby-Doo. He's currently playing Christina Hendricks' husband in Good Girls on NBC, yes. And after Casey Kasem retired the role in 2009, Matthew became the official voice of Shaggy in the cartoons as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he saw this as his chance to go full method and do something he'd never done before, and he achieved it.
He's doing all the cartoons. These include such titles as Scooby-Doo, Franken-Creepy, Abracadabra-Doo, Lego Scooby-Doo Blowout Beach Bash, and Scooby-Doo, The Sword and the Scoob.
Where does one watch these cartoons?
Things I never needed to know.
Yeah. Lego Scooby-Doo.
Well, you can laugh, but you got a lot of Scooby snacks out of this role, apparently.
That's true. He's counting his money. He's counting his Scooby snacks.
We have a Hey, It's That Girl.
Hey, it's that girl.
Do you recognize the Judge Andrews? Do you know the actress playing her?
Oh, I've seen her in gajillion things.
Oh, yeah.
She's like discount mom from E.T., but not mom from E.T.
Right.
Convince the jury, Mr. Stanich, not this courtroom. I'll allow the defense. Miss Cabot, fire up your shrink.
Right, that's Academy Award nominee Lindsay Krause. 10 Law & Order Universe appearances, 9 as a judge, 7 in this as a judge. She was in Slapshot, All the President's Men, and got an Oscar nom for Places in the Heart.
Oh.
What else? She was in Prince of the City with Jerry Orbach and was married to playwright and director David Mamet.
Really?
Oh.
I mean, I would never judge somebody by the quality of their spouse, but
she's seen some shit.
I mean, she's got some stories.
Well,
and all of them have to be bleeped.
So her daughter is
Zosha Mamet.
Yes.
Zosha Mamet
From Girls and the Flight Attendant. She basically came from a show business family from way back. Her grandfather was the first president of Juilliard. Her name is Lindsay Ann Krause. And it was a nod to her father and his writing partner. They were Lindsay and Krause. And they wrote much of the Sound of Music.
Wow.
Yes, that's true. They wrote the book for it. Yep.
And she also has the best line in this episode.
Which is?
Fire up your psychiatrist.
It was a strangely very informal way to say that. Or, no, I think it was even fire up your shrink.
Pull a string. And also, who's playing Birdie's attorney? Dwight Stanich.
Robert Klein.
We'll pursue an affirmative defense, Your Honor. Extreme emotional disturbance. In addition to murdering 2 people, Mrs. Sulloway's husband tormented her physically and mentally.
Comedian Robert Klein. 5 Law & Order appearances for as this character. I was 100% sure he was dead. As of this moment, I am wrong. He's still with us. But for some reason...
Do not say that, Kevin.
I know, kiss of death.
Be careful. Right? We kill people all the time on our show.
We have a curse on our show. We have a curse. We've killed
Jesus.
like 20 people. It is not okay.
Robert Klein, you've seen him most recently as the mayor of New York City in Sharknado 2, the second one.
Okay.
And Sharknado 3, Oh Hell No.
The Sharkening.
The Sharkening.
So she goes to the police station with her checkbook and says she's going to write a check for Tisa's funeral.
I understand that poor girl who died was a dancer.
She was.
I want to pay for her funeral.
Birdie, that really isn't necessary.
Oh, yes, it is.
Who's she writing that check to?
To whom? Is she writing that check?
Cash, obviously.
Dear Olivia Benson,
cash.
here is a check that I shall write to the New York Police Department that I'd like you to sign over to this poor woman Tisa's family.
Do you think she picked a dollar figure and she's like, there, have an extra special funeral?
$25,000. Who should I write it out to? Stripper's family.
Well, you don't have to be Fred and Velma to know that something is not right with nephew Chet.
I know everything about her. I am her soulmate.
That's why you're so protective of her.
Exactly.
So when is the last time that you had to protect her?
Oh, that would be 2 days ago when you and your partner came by.
I'm going to say that we've got a grown man with weird hair and a mustache who just makes martinis.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a creepy mood there in that place.
Is it just like the mustache and the weird hair that all of a sudden we're like, there's something off?
It is, and then there's the moment where she says, "This is our little piece of heaven," and she just touches his face, and you go, "Okay." And I don't know. With Carol Burnett, who knows? It was probably an improv at that moment. And she knew she was going to make this about them having a sexual relationship. They never say explicitly that that's what's happening, but we know that's what's happening.
Yeah, immediately.
They are banging.
Yeah. I will say, God love Matthew Lillard for keeping a straight face for this whole episode. I mean, maybe there were many takes where he did not, but
he did like Tim Conway and kept breaking up.
Oh my God,
and,
it was incredible. But I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you drink, and I don't want to assume that you do.
I do.
I had a real hankering for martinis this entire
I love a good
episode.
martini.
I'm like,
yes.
I wanted to just turn. It was like I watched it at like 2:00 in the afternoon. I just want to turn to Kevin and be like, "Dirty, please."
Do you want a creepy looking incel to bring you your drink too?
I would take that.
You know, I would. An actual troll brought me a martini. It'd be fine. Anytime you're serving me grain alcohol, I'm there for it.
Well, they pull up in front of the apartment building, about to head up to arrest Marv, and that's when his body plunges from the heavens and lands on a parked car.
I can't wait to see the look on this a-hole's face.
Do me a favor. Let me cuff him.
Better yet, let Birdie do it.
And I was just waiting for Olivia to say, wow, it's a good thing we didn't park in the loading zone.
Lenny Briscoe would have said that 100%.
Oh,
I just washed that car. So they go up and they find Birdie watching black and white films of her younger self.
The best.
In a turban. In a turban,
yes. That's how she retires for the evening. In case you were wondering, yes, that is Carol Burnett and Ken Berry on an old episode of The Carol Burnett Show. But I have to ask Chet, who gets the projector down and sets everything up.
When she said,
just digitize this shit, man.
It did feel like she was just sitting there. It was totally like Sunset Boulevard. She was sitting there just like what's her name? I'm blanking. What's
Gloria Swanson.
Thank you. I need to be in gay jail because I could not come up with Gloria Swanson. You just think it's the pictures that got small. You can just see it.
Now let's take a look at the second half of this episode. Benson and Stabler have Birdie and Chet come back to SVU to see what each of them knows about Marv.
Warner called. Marv's ear print matches the one inside Tisa's closet.
Yeah, so he's our killer. Case closed.
Now we have to figure out which one of them is our killer's killer.
We bounce between interrogation rooms. We see Chet tell Liv Marv was horrible and he'd do anything for Birdie. Meantime, Birdie tells Elliot that once upon a mattress, she started fucking Chet when he was 18, telling Chet that they're sure to find his fingerprints on Marv's pharmaceutically spiked martini glass. He spills the beans. He says Birdie followed Marv into his office, where the arguing suddenly stopped and he went out the window. At arraignment, Birdie's lawyer says they'll argue extreme emotional distress. That means Huang gets to come in for the evaluation. And after 2 goddamn minutes with her, seeing her hands quiver and her eyes twitch and being uncomfortable in a government-issued folding chair, she's got cancer and it's the kind that makes you homicidal. Huang tells Birdie she only has a couple of months to live. and she becomes wistful about holding dying husband number 3, the one she earlier said died after being swept off a boat. And because they don't feel like they've got enough fucking work to do, Benson and Stabler pull the records on all 5 of her dead husbands, all of whom died under mysterious circumstances. With nothing left to lose, Birdie admits that she dispatched them, but she didn't do it alone. Chet finds Birdie in a hospital bed, and confronted by her mortality, he professes his love by reminding her of all the shitty husbands he killed for her. The cops get their arrest, and Birdie gets her revenge on Chet, who double-crossed her in the first place. Okay.
Because we all do what we have to.
So, we've got Chet and Birdie showing up at SVU, and who doesn't love the wardrobe choices?
This is where she's got this Chico special on, but it's not on the sale rack. This was like a nice someone from wardrobe grabbed something really nice.
Mm-hmm. Chanel knockoff, Chanel Hermes Chico knockoff, right?
Yeah, he's wearing a fucking ascot, and that's what took me out. Because also this is day wear, you guys. To wear an ascot during the day has not been done. Like you just did not do that. And I'm just like, what? Where is this? When is he from? And even like his style of dress, nothing felt. It's like he was pieced together as this, and maybe Birdie made him that way. That is an interesting thought.
Yes,
she created the man that she always wanted to be, but because she killed all the others.
So he's like the argument against homeschooling.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, I tell you what, Chet, Vincent Price. Now that was a man. If you could be more like Vincent Price, that was a man. Just as masculine as the day is long. I tell you what, that's your goal.
The mustache is like a half an inch longer than Hitler.
Yes. Everything's very nice. Yeah.
What follows is one of those scenes where they cut back and forth between the two interrogations.
Love it.
Since he was the one pouring the drinks, he could have very easily have drugged him with one of those poisons.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if Marv drank last night.
Of course Marv drank last night. Marv drank every night.
Last night, you laced his glass with tricyclics.
I did not.
And then over on Stabler's side, he learns that Chet has been getting squirrel from Birdie since he was a young man.
Yeah.
Is she really not afraid to break a hip?
I assume from the ascot that he's a very tender lover myself.
Oh, you're right. Just go down for hours.
Yeah. What else does he have to do?
Just the tongue. Just a tongue job.
All he's got to do is make some martinis. What the fuck else? He doesn't have to work.
You know what? You're exactly right. He is tender. That's exactly the word for it.
Yeah.
He, like Vincent Price was, I'm sure.
Yeah. So they go all Clockwork Orange on Chet, and he's throwing his clothes and banging his head.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't kill him. She killed him. She did it.
Chet, it's okay. It's okay. Calm down. Try to relax. Chet.
Jake, I can't tell if this is really great acting or really bad acting.
I was kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And at one point, it doesn't even matter. Because when I think about this character, it's not like a real person.
Really?
But because the way he was... Exactly. And usually with actors, the goal is to somehow portray a real person. However, I think this is someone who Birdie kind of created. So it does make sense that he would be histrionic and be like someone he saw in old movies.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Matthew Lillard really had a good time with doing this, and he probably said, "This no one's going to ever give me something like this to do again. I'm like a kind of bro-ish guy, and no one is ever going to let me do something, so I'm going to run with it."
I thought he was freaking awesome in this scene, and I agree with you. It wasn't Matthew Lillard having histrionics. It was Matthew Lillard as Chet.
Totally.
Having histrionics. It was sort of like the Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder 8 layers of blackface, yellowface, whatever. Like it was sort of like that, sort of like through the tunnel of Chet acting.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's what, like when he gets to the part where he's crying, but he's
amazing.
It's like, okay, I've seen, male actors cry on this. I just haven't seen them go, all Little League Baseball.
Loved it.
Yeah.
He literally was drooling.
Yeah.
And it was at one moment it could have been funny.
Yeah.
But he just kept going. I loved it.
So when they said bail for Birdie, she says the thing that only people with money can say.
I will not have him argue over money. It's vulgar.
I won't argue over money. It's vulgar.
Love it.
She said that, and then she turned to Chris Maloney and said, remember that for your next contract negotiation, motherfucker. Well, here comes Huang, and in 2 minutes, he knows she's got the rarest of cancers. It just requires a PET scan and all kinds of biopsies, and then he looks at the results and he says,
as I suspected, paraneoplastic syndrome.
Just as I suspected.
I will say, I always feel bad for BD Wong having to play this role where he has to get us from point A to point B. He always has to be the smart one in the room, but at the same time, he always seems smug. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for him having to do it.
So Birdie's going to jail, and she just wants her revenge on Chet, so she invites him to the hospital to say something incriminating. And then there is the briefest of suggestions that they're going to fuck in that hospital bed.
I only wish we had the chance to be together one last time.
What do you mean? There's still time.
No, darling.
Chet was gonna fuck her in that hospital bed.
Yeah. If she said go.
Didn't you guys get the impression that Chet has never had sex with anybody but her, right?
That's what it felt like to me.
That's all the sex he's ever had.
Chet, could you raise the bed up a little bit?
Kind of looks back over his shoulder like, is the nurse going to come in?
So this raises the question for me, right? Yeah. So she wants him to go down, not that way, the other kind of down. Like she wants him to go down for the killings.
Yeah, or both.
So why...
Both things can be true.
So why, when he says she did it, doesn't he just say, no, he did it?
It is so much more theatrical this way.
Okay, so she wanted to be theatrical. That was it. Okay.
Yeah, it was...
Check. Okay, the question answered.
This was not Rebecca, this was not a plot issue. This was a storytelling one.
Oh, okay. Yes.
We needed to go through all of that.
I see.
She's not going to get an Emmy nomination for being expedient.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I was not taking that into
consideration.
Some
70-year-old queen wrote this script and just wants another Carol Burnett dramatic TV movie.
Yes.
And this is what he wanted. Yeah.
Guys, have you ever been in a hospital room? I know you have.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to have sex in a hospital room?
Negative.
Like it's the least sexy place in the entire world.
It is the least sexiest place to me, the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather have sex anywhere.
In a mortuary.
I'd rather have sex in front of your mother than have sex in a hospital room.
That happened once by accident. All right, let's take a look at the real-life story that inspired this episode. It's time for Ripped from the Headlines.
You think you know who did it. You think you know who did it. But you don't know who did it. You don't know who did it. Ripped from the Headlines.
This episode takes cues from the case of Betty Neumar, dubbed the Black Widow Granny. Neumar outlived 5 husbands in 5 states over 6 decades. Her stepson became suspicious after the sudden death of his father, John Neumar. He was the 76-year-old's 5th husband, all of whom died under mysterious circumstances. Her second husband was shot on a New York pier in 1955. Her third husband died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound after a marital quarrel in 1967. 2 decades after their divorce, her first husband was shot in 1970. Her fourth husband had been shot multiple times in their North Carolina home in 1986. John Neumar died in 2007 of intestinal issues which could have been caused by arsenic poisoning. North Carolina police reinvestigated and learned she tried 3 different times to hire a hitman in the weeks before her fourth husband's murder. They said she did it for the insurance money. Detectives in other states reopened cases but couldn't find any new evidence. Neumar was charged with solicitation and first-degree murder and released on a $300,000 bond. But the woman, known as the Black Widow Granny, never had her day in court. Betty Neumar died of cancer in 2011 before her case came to trial.
Here was a detail that the cops didn't pay much attention to, but probably should have in the death of husband number 4, Harold Gentry. He shot himself in the head twice.
A lot of shootings, too.
Like Zoink Scoop.
Boy.
A lot of shootings. Like, if I know. I mean, it's not like husband number 1 died in a car accident, husband number 2 fell off a yacht, husband number 3 fell under a pier. Like, shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone take her gun away.
Well, she lived in a different state with each husband.
Yeah.
So it was hard, especially
pre-internet,
to sort of connect these kinds of things. The third, they're not positive here that there's multiple homicides, actually.
I am.
No, she killed them all.
Yeah.
She killed them all.
She's dead. We can say that, right? You can't slander the dead.
Her first husband was actually the third to die, and so they hadn't been together for about 20 years. But it was one of those sort of could have been street crime. Who knows?
All right.
And they all deserved it, as far as I'm concerned.
They all had it coming. So she got $20,000 in insurance money. That doesn't seem like a lot.
Nope.
She could have gotten more.
Yeah.
She could have, really held out for more. I think you're just doing it because you can at that point, right?
If I'm in my second marriage, or if I ever get married for the first time, it'll be a bedside marriage like Anna Nicole Smith. And he'll be there, and I'm like, with that shaky hand signing that DNR.
Yeah.
The more, and then hopefully the family will be nowhere. If you can find one without family members, all the better.
Yes.
I'm just trying to picture this. Are you the one in the bed with the shaky hand, or is he?
Oh, no, it's them.
Okay.
They're the old ones.
Operation Silver Fox. I got it.
Operation Platinum Fox.
There you go.
Platinum Fox. No, they need to be 80s, very infirm.
Yes, yes.
So if you are murdering someone in their late 70s, you're just impatient, right?
Yeah.
It seems like, although arsenic, I mean, that just seems sloppy, right?
See, they weren't able to draw that. They weren't able to definitively say that.
Right.
But it certainly was.
Arsenic is mean, because that means you're watching them die slowly.
That's a gun
you're
one,
getting,
right? That's like guns. Yeah.
And you're getting it's rat poison.
Yeah.
And you're watching them with every day, or every time you give it to them, you are watching them slowly suffer.
Yeah.
So that's screwed up.
Yeah. But they're like, I love this almond milk you've added to the coffee. It smells like almonds.
Tastes of cyanide.
It's like the flowers in the attic poison, right? Little sugar cookie action. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to picture like your mother or your grandmother as a killer.
Have you met my mother?
Oh, that's right. Actually, I have.
My mother could do it.
Yeah.
If it was something with her kids, my mother would totally murder someone. But sometimes with my father, they've been together a very long time, and she'll say things. Yeah, she'll say like, "Your father needs to get out of the house. She's driving me crazy. I just might hit him in the head." So I am worried.
Don't go on a yacht.
Where's my turban?
Yeah, where's my
exactly.
turban? That's going to do it for us. We want to thank our guest, Jake Anthony. Jake, where can our listeners follow you online?
Thanks, guys. This was so much fun. You can find us and our podcast. We're Reality Gaze, and we do reality television, mostly do 90 Day Fiancé, some other stuff like Love After Lockup. We also, you can find us at realitygaze.com, at our Instagram at Reality Gaze Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Reality Gaze Pod. We're also on TikTok, but we're old people who just got on TikTok.
Amazing.
Wow, I'll have to find out what that is.
It is not the crocodile in Peter Pan, which is what I thought everyone was talking about.
And Rebecca Lavoie, how can our listeners follow you?
On Twitter and Instagram at Reb Lavoie, and of course, everyone can listen to at Crime Writers On.
And you can track me on Twitter at Kevin P. Flynn. You also can tweet to us at Law & Order Pod, or follow us on Instagram at These Are Their Stories Podcast. Our newsreader was Cy Frater. Our theme music was composed and performed by Uncanny Valleys. Content assistance from Travis Roy. Lily Flynn handles promotions. To get ad-free episodes of These Are the Stories a week early, sign up for Stitcher Premium. All clips in this podcast were used in compliance with the U.S. Copyrights Act fair use exemption for criticism and commentary. Go to lawandorderpodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter for a chance to be our next Law & Order Marathon winner. These Are Their Stories was recorded in the Yoga Loft above the Bodega in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi studio and is a production of Partners in Crime Media.
Partners in Crime Media.